All right. So I've shown you how to make the sugar wine glass. And now what I want to do is I want to give you some tips as far as how to refine the look and actually how to store these isomalt wine glasses. So you remember how we dumped the mold and then we cut the sugar, and when we unmolded the glasses, a lot of times you're going to have a very irregular top. And it's very nice to just make that smooth. It does, goes a long way in making the glass look very realistic if we could have a nice finish on the top of the glass. So I'm sure you have one of these, which is just an electric griddle. And I set it at about 225 to 250 degrees. And all you do is take your glass and put it down onto the electric griddle. And what it does is it melts the top and it gives kind of like a really finished bead right on top of the glassware. Now, this also strengthens the glass because you're making it solid. So anytime that you make glassware, no matter what, it could be a beer glass or a Martini glass, it's nice to finish the top off like that. Now, a question that I get a lot is from people who want to make these ahead of time instead of the day that a cake has to be delivered or the day they actually want to use these. And they want to know how they can protect an item made out of isomalt or sugar from the high humidity. And all over this country, especially right now in the summer or in the late spring, we have very high temperatures and a lot of humidity in the air. And that is going to dull and melt and crystallize our sugar pieces. So what we want to do is we want to protect them. And what I recommend you do, number one, is just go to the store and get one of these storage bins and get one that has a nice locking lid. And then what I do is I'll take some cellophane, cling wrap, saran wrap, and I'll make 5 or 10 layers and I'll oversize it, just one layer on top of another, so this can form kind of like a seal. We don't get a real airtight situation when we put this lid on, but if we can put this on, what it does, it serves kind of like a gasket and stops high humidity from the outside air to get into our container. But the real secret to protecting your sugar work is to actually have one of these. Now this is a food grade silica gel packet. This has silica gel inside of an approved paper exterior. This has been approved by the FDA so that you can use it with food. Now, every one of you have seen something like this. This is basically what you find when you buy shoes or leather goods. And the reason why it's used is because silica gel has the ability to absorb many times its weight in moisture and humidity right out of the air. So if we take a silica gel packet like this and we put it in this container, and then we take our gasket and then put the lid on and snap it shut, okay? What's going to happen is that the silica gel packet is going to remove all of the humidity inside of this container, and it's going to become perfectly dry. Now, your sugar work can stay in an environment like this for weeks and months. The pieces that I have right here in this container are at least 2 weeks old, and they have a beautiful, beautiful shine. They still look wonderful, and they haven't crystallized or gotten sticky at all. Now, if you're going to get into some long-term storage, another way of going about this is to just take some of this real wide painter's masking tape. I use this because you can remove it easily. And then what you can do is actually just use this to get almost a perfect seal around your piece, or around the lid. And in this way, I think that's even a better seal than using this kind of gasket sheeting that we made. So you can make your glassware ahead of time. And on my website, you can actually choose the size of silica gel packet that you need. On the website, there's a page for each one of these sizes, and it tells you how big of a container one of these packets will dehumidify, so you can size the packet to, appropriately to the size of the container that you're going to use. But employing the methods that I just showed you, you'll be able to make your sugar work way ahead of time and store it and even transport it to the site where you're going to set it up or use it, and just take it out when you have to set up your display or actually use it. And once you take it out of here, even in a high humidity environment, you're going to have hours to be able to use this, and it's going to stay beautiful and bright and shiny. On my website, makeyourownmolds.com, we have kits where you can choose the type of glass that you want to make. And with that glass, you get the exact amount of copyflex and safety clay and all the things you need, including the tubes. But what I want to talk about is that you may find yourself in a situation where you want to make a mold of a glass of your own choosing, or maybe your customer has something that they want duplicated. And so what you have to do is you have to calculate, well, how much of these materials do I need? And I want to show you a really cool way of being able to do that. So let's say that this is a customer supplied glass that we're going to have to duplicate. Okay, so the question is, how much copyflex do I need in order to make a good mold around this glass? Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to measure how wide this glass is. And normally, you might think that a measurement across the top is going to be the widest area, but actually a glass has a belly to it, and so we're going to measure at the widest point, which is going to be right across here. And so when I'm measuring, I'm getting a little over 3 inches in diameter. Now if you go to the website at makeyourownmolds.com and look at the 2-bits, you'll see that we have a 3 3/4 diameter 2-bit, okay, that you can use as a mold box, for appropriately sized objects. All right, so the rule of thumb is that you want to add a minimum of 1/2 inch to the diameter that you determine from your glass. So we're a little over, let's say we're at 3 1/4 inches in diameter for this glass, and if we add 1/2 inch, we're at 3 3/4 inches. Well, the closest 2-bit that I have to that is exactly 3 3/4. So you know that you're going to order this in order to make a mold of this glass, which is fine. The trouble is that you don't have the 2-bit, okay? So it's very easy just to get some construction paper, or some poster board actually, and make a tube that is the appropriate size for your project. You're going to just tape it so it has a 3 3/4 inch diameter, and you're going to make it taller by 1 inch or 2 than the glass that you want to duplicate. Now, here's the trick. Here's how you just determine how much of the copyflex that you need. First of all, take any bowl. It doesn't have to be clear. I I have everything clear so that you can see what's going on. And take your glass, put it upside down because that's the way we're going to mold the glass. And then you would put your homemade 2-bit, okay, over it. Now, I don't recommend you use this for silicone. It's not strong enough. It's very thin. Look at the difference between these two pieces. A 2-bit is very, very strong and much more suitable for mold making. But anyway, for what we're going to do today, we can definitely use our homemade 2-bit, okay? Now, instead of using a solid colored one, I've made the same size out of vinyl so that you can see what's going on. All I want you to do is I want you to take some dry rice and go ahead and fill your 2-bit, okay? What's going to happen is that this rice is just going to fill around your glassware. Now, you know what? When you're halfway, okay, just kind of get this thing round and get your glass centered. And then go ahead and continue to pour. Now, we want to pour a 1/2 inch higher than the wine glass. Okay? All right. What we're getting here is a volume measurement. This is not weight. We're finding out what the volume of material we need around this glass to make a mold. Okay? So once you've done this, simply remove your homemade 2-bit and remove your glass. And now you have the volume of Copyflex that you need. But we sell the Copyflex by the pound. So what I want you to do is let's find out exactly how much rice we have here. So I'm going to take this rice and I'm just going to put it back into a measure. Now you can use lentils, popcorn. It doesn't really matter. I just like to use something that's dry, doesn't make a mess, and is easy to handle. All right. Okay, so I'm hoping the camera picks this up, but as you can see, we have 25 volume ounces, liquid ounces, or volume ounces of dry rice, okay? So here's the magic formula. For every 12 ounces of volume, that equals 1 pound in weight of Copyflex. So if you have 12 ounces of volume, that equals 1 pound of Copyflex. In this instance, we have 24 volume ounces of dry rice. That means for this project, you're going to need 2 pounds of Copyflex. So that is the critical material that you need. You've also determined the size of the 2-bit that you need also, which is 3 3/4. And then you would buy some safety clay, sealed it, and anchored it. And you can make a mold around just about any glassware you can find. If you use this method, you'll know what you need, and then you can just order them and go ahead and make a mold just like I've shown you on this film. To purchase the wine glass mold making kit shown in this video, or other kits that are available for making sugar martini, champagne, and beer glasses, go to makeyourownmolds.com and click on the link titled Mold Making Kits.